Alright, we're going to start inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa bihi nasta'inu ala umuri dunya wa deen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammadin khatam al-Nabiyyin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم باب سؤال جبريل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الإيمان والإسلام والإحسان وعلم الساعة. Come closer, come closer. Huh? Be loud, please. 37 at the bottom of the page. Right? Yeah.
Narrator Abu Hurairah.
We'll start with the chapter title.
It's the asking of the angel.
Hold on. Oh, come on. You have back problems? Huh? Yes? Don't worry, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions today, too. So come sit here. Inshallah.
The asking of the angel Jibreel.
Chapter
37. The asking of angel Jibreel from the Prophet ﷺ about belief, Islam, Ihsan, and the knowledge of the hour. And the explanation given to him by the Prophet ﷺ. Then the Prophet ﷺ said to his companions, Jibreel ﷺ came to teach you your religion. So the Prophet ﷺ regarded all that as religion. And all that which the Prophet ﷺ explained to the delegation of Abdul Qais was a part of faith. See hadith number 53 and 87. And the statement of Allah Ta'ala, and whoever seeks a religion other than Islam, it will never be accepted from him. Narrated.
طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بارك الله فيكم. باب سؤال جبريل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الإيمان والإسلام والإحسان وعلم الساعة وبيان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم له ثم قال جاء جبريل عليه السلام يعلمكم دينكم فجعل ذلك كله دينا وما بين النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لوفد عبد القيس من الإيمان وقوله تعالى ومن يبتغي غير الإسلام دينا فلا يقبل منه وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين. طيب. So this chapter, we're entering into a new chapter. This chapter is the chapter of the questions of Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam to the Prophet about Eemaan, about Islam, and about Ihsan, and about the hour. And the clarification that the Prophet sallallahu after Jibreel asked him these questions, the Prophet sallallahu he said what? Hada Jibreel, or Ja'a Jibreel, yu'allimukum deenakum. Jibreel, he came to teach you your deen. So the Prophet ﷺ, he included among our deen all three levels of Islam. He included Islam, which is what? What's Islam? Whenever Islam and Eemaan are mentioned together, what do we consider Islam to be? And what do we consider Eemaan to be? Huh? Islam is the outward actions. Whenever Islam and Eemaan is mentioned together, we consider Islam to be the outward actions. Why? Based on this hadith and other things, right? Islam to be the outward actions. And when Eemaan and Islam are mentioned together, we mention Eemaan to be what? The inward actions, right? And then there's Ihsan, which is the highest of them all. That's the highest of them all. We're going to get into it when we get into the hadith. We're going to save it for that, right? We're not going to feed you everything right now. And ilm as-sa'a, and Jibreel came to ask the Prophet ﷺ about the signs of the hour. When will the hour be? What are the signs of the hour, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he clarified to his companions that those things that Jibreel asked about, that is the deen. So this is a refutation here of, again, we mentioned what? This whole book is a refutation of that corrupt understanding that what? Don't matter what I do, I have Eemaan, right? This whole chapter, Kitaabul Eemaan, by Imam al-Bukhaaree, rahimahullah ta'ala, right, was placed so that we understand that actions are a part of Eemaan. From amongst the people of the Murji'ah, and we said the Murji'ah are the flag bearers of this belief. Remember that name. The Murji'ah are the flag bearers of the belief that actions do not affect my Eemaan. That actions are not from Eemaan. There's different types amongst them always. Always amongst Ahlul Bid'ah, the people of innovation, they always divide. They can't stay on one thing, of course, right? So from amongst them are those who say that long as I know Allah, regardless if I believe in Allah or not, ma'rifatul qalb, only having understanding of the heart is enough to be a believer. That's it, nothing else. Just understanding. I know that Allah created everything. I know that Allah is above the... That's enough. Ma'rifatul qalb. Without any i'tiqad, without any firm belief, without any tight, firm, unwavering belief, they say that's enough. And then as well from amongst them, there are some that say that Eemaan is just belief in the heart, nothing else. Whatever I believe in my heart, actions don't affect it. Then there are some from amongst them that say that Eemaan is purely speech of the tongue. As long as you say La ilaha illallah, nothing else matters. It doesn't have to be in your heart. You said La ilaha illallah, you're a believer. We understand? And there's a fourth group that say that Eemaan is belief in the heart and speech of the tongue, but no actions. As long as you say La ilaha illallah and have the belief in your heart, that's all that matters. Right? Are these type of people not present amongst us today? Don't we see them? Don't we hear people who talk like this, Sulaiman? Right? People talk like this, right? They say, oh, don't worry. I said La ilaha illallah. My belief is in my heart. We say, but what about your actions? Do your actions show us Islam? No. But they don't care. They don't realize how corrupt this type of thinking and belief is. And this is a belief that is foreign to Islam. As Muslims, we believe that Eemaan, or as people of the Sunnah, we believe that Eemaan is what? What is Eemaan? Huh? What is Eemaan? No. How Eemaan? Iman is what? Belief in the heart. Belief in the heart, action of the limbs. Belief in the heart. Statement of the tongue and action of the limbs. And it goes up with obedience to Allah, goes down with obedience to shaitan. Four main components, right? Iman is belief in the heart. You have to believe it in your heart. This takes away the ones who say it's just speech of the tongue, right? If we say it's belief in the heart, this goes against the ones who just say it's speech of the tongue, right? The people who say that all you have to do is say La ilaha illallah and you're a believer. We say no, you have to have belief in the heart. Then we say speech of the tongue. This goes against those who say it's just belief in the heart, right? We say you have to have speech of the tongue. And then we also say it's actions of the limbs. And this goes against all of them who don't add actions into Iman. Does that make sense? And then we say what? Iman doesn't just stay stagnant. It goes up with obedience to Allah, and it goes down with obedience to shaitan. When are you obeying shaitan? When are you considered obeying shaitan? When is that considered? Obedience to shaitan. What do you do to obey shaitan? Follow your desires, for sure.
When you follow munkarat, though.
When you follow what?
Munkarat. The prohibited stuff.
Oh, you follow the haram. When you do the haram stuff, for sure. What else? Huh? If you do some of the makruhat, you might not be punished for doing the makruhat. We don't want to include that. That's a good point. Let me say something first, right? In regards to the levels of obedience in Islam, we have what? Wajib. Fard, wajib, same thing, right? We have wajib, mustahab, or sunnah, right? Mubah, halal, which is permissible. Then you have makruh, and you have haram. Amongst all of them, amongst all the five, only one is haram. Makruh might lead to haram, but it might not be haram in itself yet. Makruh might lead to haram. It's best to stay away from it. It's a barrier between you reaching to haram. But are you sinful for doing it? No. No. But it might take away from your muru'ah, from your mannerisms. Makruh acts might not be punished in the akhirah, but it might be harmful to you in some way in the dunya. Right? Takes away from your manliness. Takes away from your womanliness, right? So, going back to it, what is Eemaan? What are the components of Eemaan? Ladies, what is Eemaan? What is Eemaan? Belief in the heart, speech of the tongue, actions of the limbs. طيب. Malik, what is Eemaan? Huh? I can't hear you. No, not like that. Not like that. We can't. Belief in the heart. That's the terminology. اعتقاد القلب. All right? Belief in the heart. I can't hear you. Well, I want to hear it. It goes up with what? No, but what you said? What's the fourth one? It increases by what? Okay, no. The fourth component is it increases with obedience to Ar-Rahman and decreases with obedience to Shaitan. You want to know how to make your Eemaan go up? Simple. Obey Allah. If you want it to go down, disobey Allah. Very easy math. You want your Eemaan to go up? What do you do, Sulaiman? Huh? Obey Allah. If you want it to go down, what do? Disobey Allah. Simple mathematics, right? 1 + 1 is 2. If you want your Eemaan to go up, listen to your father, right? Don't talk bad. Be a good son. If you want it to go down and you want Allah not to be happy with you, don't listen to your father. Right? Simple. You want Allah to love you? Then love your parents. Correct? Well, Lord, what is Eemaan? What happened? It goes up. And it decreases by what? By obeying Shaitan. Who wants to obey Shaitan? Is he a fun partner to rock with? The Prophet said, let's keep going. Now, so that's that. The hadith of Jibreel, which is going to come next, we're going to deal with it, right? The Prophet ﷺ called everything that he mentioned in that narration to be our deen. You understand that? That's your deen. Then, the Shaykh, he's continuing, he says, وَبَيَّنَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ لِوَفْدِ عَبْدِ الْقَيْسِ. And whatever the Prophet ﷺ informed or clarified to the delegation of Abdul Qais, the delegation of the Abdul Qais is people from the tribe of Rabi'ah that came to ask the Prophet ﷺ about Eemaan and Islam. Right? That's going to come later on, hadith number 53, something like that, or 81. Hadith 53, 81. We'll deal with them when we get there, inshallah. Right? We don't want to take the dessert before we get there, okay? So we'll deal with what we have in front of us. As well, the statement of Allah, وَمَن يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَا يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Whoever desires other than Islam as a deen, it will never be accepted from him. So that means that what? To get into Jannah, you have to be a believer. So if the deen is what's going to get us into Jannah, that means that deen is Eemaan. Actions is a part of Eemaan, correct? Because the Prophet said, لَا تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا. So in this ayah in the Quran, the Prophet ﷺ was sent to explain to us the Quran. If the ayah in the Quran tells us that what? وَمَن يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Allah said that you'll be a loser if you desire other than Islam as your deen. Meaning that, again, we go back to the same thing again, that when Islam and Eemaan are mentioned together, they have separate meanings. But if they're mentioned singularly, infiradan, by themselves, then Islam takes the meaning of Eemaan as well, and Eemaan takes the meaning of Islam. So actions is a part of our Islam, and actions is a part of our Eemaan. Very important that we understand that. We keep saying it over and over. Why? Because there's so many people who are waging war against this today. Right? Say, no, don't worry, don't listen. Brother, you don't have to go pray in the masjid. Brother, you don't have to grow your beard. You're a good, no. Sister, you don't have to wear hijab. Just be Muslim. Nothing else matters. As long as you love Allah, right? You hear people talk like this? Just love Allah, nothing else. No. How can you love Allah and you don't do the things that Allah loves? Allah sent down His Sharia for a reason, right? We say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim for a reason. We can't just, I love Allah, but I don't obey Him. I love Allah, but I don't follow His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet sallallahu says in the Quran, Allah says in the Quran, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ What? فَاتَّبِعُونِ What? What else? يُحْبِبُكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُم, right? So Allah says in the Quran, if you really love Allah, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ فَاتَّبِعُونِ If you love Allah, then what? Follow me, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah tells you in the Quran, وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا Whatever He tells you to do, whatever He gives you, take it. Whatever He forbids you from, leave it alone. لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ And whoever, that the Messenger of Allah is a great example for whoever desires Allah in the last day. Right? So our Eemaan is our actions. And what we do has an impact on that. So now we deal with here the hadith of, the famous hadith of Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. I told you all before in another class that there were other people who narrated this hadith, right? Today we're going to see another variation of the hadith of Jibreel. The one that's not commonly known to us. Because most people, they memorize this hadith from Arba'in al-Nawawi, right? And that version for Arba'in al-Nawawi is the version that's found in Saheeh Muslims, right? So we have a different version here with us today. And this is the version that's found in Saheeh al-Bukhaaree, okay? What is one of the benefits of preferring the narration of the hadith of Jibreel over in Saheeh Muslim over the one here? Huh? More detail. The story behind it is told. You have a story. You have some story behind it in that hadith. When you look at the chain in Sahih Muslim from Abdullah ibn Umar, when he explained why Abdullah ibn Umar narrated this hadith on his father to those two men who came to him from Iraq, right? When the people were denying al-Qadr, and he narrated this hadith to them to explain to them that whoever denies the Qadr of Allah is a kafir. Right? You understand that? طيب. But now we have the narration that comes in, the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhaaree, rahimahullahu ta'ala. In the narration it goes, here. Read it.
Narrated Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, one day while the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sitting out for the people, a man, the angel Jibreel alayhi salam, came to him and asked, "What is faith?" Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied, "Faith is to believe in Allah, His angels, to meeting with Him, His messengers, and to believe in resurrection." Then he further asked, "What is Islam?" Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied, "To worship Allah Azza wa Jal alone and none else, to perform the salat, to pay the zakat, and to observe fasts according to Islamic teachings during the month of Ramadan." Then he further asked, "What is ihsan?" Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied, "To worship Allah Azza wa Jal as if you see Him, and if you cannot achieve this state of devotion, then you must consider that He is looking at you." Then he further asked, "When will the hour be established?" Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied, "The answer has no better knowledge than the questioner. But
The answerer
has no better knowledge than the questioner. And I will inform you about its portents. 1. When a slave lady gives birth to her master. 2. When the shepherds of black camels start boasting and competing with others in the construction of higher buildings. And the hour is one of the 5 things that nobody knows except Allah." The Prophet ﷺ then recited, "Verily Allah with him alone is the knowledge of the hour. Then the man, the angel, left the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet asked his companions to call him back, but they could not see anything. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, that was Jibreel alayhi salam, who came to teach the people their religion. Abu Abdullah radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet ﷺ considered all that as a part of Eemaan.
You. Who here, now we have a very good opportunity today. I'm going to test some people. Who here has memorized the hadith of Jibreel? You memorized it? Yeah? Yeah. Not this one, the one that said Arba'in Nawawi. Not a little, but we need some. Who else is here? Who else is here? Just Habiba? Habiba! Barakallahu feek. Did you memorize the hadith of Jibreel? No? It's long. That's the second one. Na'am. You didn't memorize it? I can't hear you. Astaghfirullah. You guys skipped it and didn't memorize it? You memorized the one. You memorized 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but didn't memorize 2? It's real long. What'd you say? You had what? You have to memorize it? So what? No, subhanAllah. Tell you. Well, guess what? When I come back from Hajj, right? Inshallah, I'll make it back.
Going, inshallah?
Inshallah.
This year?
Yeah, next week, inshallah.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah. So when I come back, I expect everyone to have that hadith memorized. It is azim, important, right? And I want you to memorize the version from Sahih Muslim, not the version from Sahih Bukhaaree. There's a fa'idah also that the ulama they speak about in regards to, let's take a benefit from the science of hadith for a second, right? In regards to hadith authenticity, there is no book that is more authentic than the book of Imam al-Bukhaaree. Do you understand that? When it comes to authenticity, sihhatul hadith, there is no book more authentic in the dunya in regards to veracity of the narrate of finding out the truthfulness of the narrators. MashaAllah, we have a hafiz here. You memorize the hadith of Jibreel, right? MashaAllah. Somebody saved you all for today. Right? So the question goes, again, we're talking about from the angle of how strong Imam al-Bukhaaree made his criteria, right? Of who he will accept hadith from, how they must be. There is no book more authentic than the Saheeh of Imam al-Bukhaaree. You understand that? Now, some ulama, they prefer the book of Imam Muslim over that of Imam al-Bukhaaree. Why? That's my question. Some ulama prefer the book of Imam Muslim, who is the student of Imam al-Bukhaaree, which has the second most authentic book in the dunya, right? Saheeh al-Muslim, Saheeh al-Muslim, right? Why do they prefer it?
More detail?
Imam Muslim, right? He provided more detail in his narrations. The ulama, they say, Imam al-Bukhaaree had a memory like no one else, right? For sure. His memory was impeccable, but he's still human, right? Yeah. He might place a fa where there might be a y. It doesn't change anything. A fa where there might be a y. So the ulama, they say that Imam al-Bukhaaree, he compiled his Jami' al-Sahih while he was traveling. He was never stationary. He didn't have his books with him. It was from memory, subhanAllah. But Imam Muslim, when he compiled his Sahih, it was from his books as well. He had his books to reference back to see how he wrote it down. What was it? You see what I'm saying? So his wording at times will be more authentic than the wording of Imam al-Bukhaaree. So the ulama, normally, if they have a choice between preferring the wording of the two, if both of them narrated, they'll prefer the wording of Imam Muslim over that of Imam al-Bukhaaree. But as far as authenticity, Imam al-Bukhaaree champs everyone. You understand that? As well, Imam Muslim was more, his Sahih is more detailed. I mean, more organized than that of Imam al-Bukhari. The organization level of Imam Muslim's Sahih was better put than that of Imam al-Bukhari. But both of them, of course, we have no blame on either one of the books. That's just a benefit for the students who want to study hadith. Now, continuing, the question is going to say, when everyone comes back, so that's enough time for everyone so they can't say, oh, it's so long. It's not that long. It's a few paragraphs. It's not in reality but a page or two, right? Right? It's only a page. That's not difficult. Take a time, take every day, memorize 3-4 lines. Very simple. That should be like al-Fatiha for you. That hadith is the Fatiha of all the hadith. You understand? It's called Ummul Hadith. It's called the Hadith of Jibreel. Scholars have written books and books and books just about this one hadith. Right? So we'll take a little bit of time to deal with it, inshallah. We're not going to run over it. It's important. How long is it in your little book? Huh? How many pages? 2 in the little book. The little book is 2 pages, subhanAllah. What's difficult about that? There's a hadith way longer than this. It is simple. Mal Islam, Mal Eemaan. Right? Very simple in reality. Tayyib. So, we'll take it now from the hadith of Abu Hurairah today. Today, we're taking it from the narration of who? Abu Hurairah. In the Sahih of Imam Muslim, who does it come from? Umar ibn al-Khattab, right? What does that tell you? That this wasn't an event, and it comes from other narrators as well. It's been narrated on other narrators as well because it was an event that a lot of people were there and saw. It wasn't a small event, it was an event that a lot of people were there. Okay? Even though sometimes we think it might have been Umar. No, it was a bunch of people there. And we'll see that from the narration, inshallah. It goes, حدثنا مسدد قال حدثنا إسماعيل بن إبراهيم أخبرنا أبو حيان التيمي عن أبي زرعة عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بارزا يوما للناس. First, let's stop here. Let's stop here because we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to do a comparing between the two narrations to get some more benefits from them, okay? So he says, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بارزا, right? He was out sitting one day. Did you memorize Hadith of Jibreel? You memorize Hadith of Jibreel? He said, oh no. Okay, you will. You will. Inshallah. So, he says one day the Prophet ﷺ was sitting out. Barizan, right? What is that? What benefit can we take from here first? Barizan doesn't mean that about lying. He was sitting out. What about that? Oh. Well, yeah, he used to do this. Yeah, canon, whenever you have like canon, something was his habit. He used to do this a lot. But more than that, we see how a statesman, how a sheikh, how the imam, how the scholar, how the president or whatever, whoever they have to be for the Muslims should be. Should be accessible. Right? Should be accessible where people can reach them. Right? Oh, I know where to find him at. Or I know his number, whatever it might be. Should be accessible. The people who are the leaders of the Muslims should not be hidden away where nobody can find them. The Prophet ﷺ wasn't like that. He was accessible to the people. Badis and linnas, right? Out there, just sitting, hanging out with the companions, right? And that's another thing that we learn, that just because you're the imam, just because you're the sheikh, doesn't mean you shouldn't mix with the people. You should mix with the people, as the Prophet ﷺ, mentioned in the hadith about the one who... The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned about the people, who are not sociable. Who are not sociable and don't mix with the people. Blameworthy characteristic to not be sociable, right? So, the Prophet ﷺ was amongst the people sitting there. He said, Fatahu Jibreel. In this narration it says Fatahu Jibreel, but of course, Abu Hurairah is narrating this after it happened. And other narrations have Rajul, right? And other narrations, as young Abdul Fattah is going to read, it mentions what? It doesn't mention about anything about known as Jibreel. They did not know it was Jibreel until the Prophet ﷺ informed them about it, right? So in the narration that's found in the Sahih, Imam Muslim, rahimahullah ta'ala, starts as what? Without the book. Close your book. La, huh? عن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه بينما come on loud بينما نحن جلوس عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Louder, nobody can hear you. Let's stop. بينما, one day we were sitting, the same thing, baddies and right? We were sitting with the Prophet ﷺ, no big deal. It wasn't like it was a special day. It was a day in the life of the Sahaba with the Prophet ﷺ. They were sitting there with him. بينما نحن جلوس عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم, that specific day, إذ طلع علينا رجل شديد بياض الثياب, a man came to us. Nobody knew it was Jibreel, right? As it comes in every narration that's mentioned, nobody knew who he was. إذ طلع علينا رجل, he just appeared. طلع means that they didn't even see him come. He just appeared. Where did that come from? إذ طلع علينا رجل شديد بياض, right? The thiyab. He had on extremely white clothing, beautiful, nice white clothing. شديد سواد الشعر, لا يرى عليه أثر السفر, and there were no signs of travel upon him. ولا يعرفه أحد منا, right? This is how it goes. Keep going. Read it back. Read what I just said without. أثر السفر. ولا what? Huh? ولا يعرفه أحد من ولا يعرفه منا أحد. ولا يقول أحد. ولا يعرفه منا أحد. Okay. So we have some benefits to come here, right? So they say he came and appeared, extremely white clothing on, nice clothes. His hair was nice and black, right? Right? There were no signs of travel upon him. Why is that important to notice? One, he had just, because he said, why is it important? Because none of us know him. How did Umar in this narration know that none of us knew him? In other narrations, they said they asked each other, do you know that guy? Who is this guy? Do you know him? And everyone said, no, we don't know him. So they asked each other about it, right? This comes in other narrations to bring the story better for us, right? They said, do you know him? I said, I don't know him. You know him? I don't know him. They said, there's no signs of travel upon him. Because how can a person just come up the road from traveling from the desert or wherever, and he doesn't look like that? Right? He didn't stop in at nobody's house and change. Nobody knows him. Right? So then, keep going. فأسند ركبتيه إلى النبي, right? Now we learn something here. فأسند ركبتيه إلى ركبتيه ووضع كفيه على فخذيه. Now the scholars, they differ about what does this mean. فأسند ركبتيه إلى ركبتيه. He put his knees to his knees, right? فوضع كفيه على فخذيه. Some of the scholars, they say that he put his hands on his own legs. But in other narrations of the hadith, it becomes clear that he put his hands on the Prophet's knees, on the leg, on his thighs. That shows what? If somebody doesn't know you, can they just come put their hands on your thighs? The thighs is a type of part of your body that somebody has to know you to touch, right? So he came and put his hand, he was so close, right? He was close enough that, come here. He was close enough, come here, sit. Let's sit here, right? He's close enough, he comes into the, sit down on your knees like this, right? He comes into the gathering, right? And he comes and he sits down, close. Knee to knee. Do you see this? You know, or maybe if he sat like this, one of the two ways, and you see this? Even if it's this way or this way, he's close. And then he keeps going with the hadith. Do you see how the difference of this, what this means? That so the companions, they're astonished now. Whoa, who's this man touching the Prophet? So I said him like that, right? That's what you would say. How do you come up to somebody that you don't know and just come and touch them in that manner? That's not a normal type of touch that you come and say, "Salaam alaikum." No, right? So that's important to understand that part of the hadith. That he came and put his knees that close. What benefit do we get out of this? That when the sheikh or whoever is teaching, you should be as close as possible. Why? This is talaqqi. When you're taking an ilm from someone, it should be face to face, mouth to mouth, right? Because this is important. This is the wahi of the Prophet ﷺ. This is the wahi from Allah to the Prophet ﷺ. This is important knowledge. This should be something where you take this talaqqi serious. He came and put all his focus on the Prophet ﷺ. Why? I'm coming to learn from you what will save me from Jahannam. Right? I'm coming to learn from you what will save me from the fire. I don't have time to be focused on anything else besides what we're talking about right now. I'm coming to ask you about Islam, Eemaan, Ihsan, and the signs of the hour. I'm coming to ask you about my deen. And if I don't know my deen, I am nothing. What did the ayah say we just read before? وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Right? Whoever desires, whoever seeks after something other than the deen, if you're working for other than the deen, it will never be accepted from you. And in the akhirah, you'll be from the losers. So when you're coming to learn what will make you a winner in the akhirah, you should be doing what? Focused, right? Focused. You're coming to seek after what will save you from Jahannam. There's no time to be unfocused about that. Especially when it comes to these basics of the deen. And this shows us that if we don't know and understand properly these basic, simple matters of Islam, we have a problem. We have a problem. It's like what we talked about Al-Fatiha the other day. If we don't understand these basic matters, we have a serious problem. When it comes to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, this is Al-Fatiha. We have to understand this and be able to explain this hadith, because if we don't understand this hadith, we don't understand our deen. If you don't understand the hadith of Jibreel, you do not understand your deen. Impossible. There's no way you can say, I know Islam. And somebody says, okay, explain to me the hadith of Jibreel. You say, It's impossible. So, the same way that we're focused on Al-Fatiha right now in our tafsir, we're going to focus on this hadith of Jibreel. Every single one of you will be required to know this hadith. When we come back from Hajj, I'm not going to kill you right now. When we come back from Hajj, insha'Allah ta'ala, every single one of you will be required to be able to say this hadith like you say Al-Fatiha. You'll be required to be able to explain it. I don't care if you explain it in Chinese. You will be required to explain this hadith. Explaining every section of it. Bringing your own benefits. Bringing some benefits from it of how we should understand our deen. Do you understand that? This is an important hadith. We cannot be talking about all this other stuff if we don't understand the hadith of Jibreel. Do we understand that? It's a very serious situation. طيب. So we move forward, right? فطلع علينا رجل شديد بياض الثياب شديد سواد الشعر لا يرى عليه اثر السفر لا يعرف منا احد, right? حتى فاسند ركبتيه الى ركبتيه ووضع كفيه على فخذيه فقال يا محمد. He said, يا محمد أخبرني عن الإسلام. Come on, read the hadith. Who from amongst you ladies have memorized this hadith yet? None of you? Huh? None of you? Yes? No? Say no if you didn't. Okay. Well, you will, inshallah. No problem. Now you will. Now you understand how important it is, right? We understand? This is al-Fatiha when it comes to the science of hadith. Go ahead, keep going. So now, the first thing we realize, he says, Ya Muhammad. Obviously he knows who he is. He didn't ask. He didn't come to the gathering and say, hey, which one of you are Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He came right to him and said his name. Ya Muhammad, akhbirni an al-Islam. Oh Muhammad, tell me about Islam. Let's go back to our narration here, right? فَأَتَاهُ جِبْرِيلٌ فَقَالَ. In this narration, it goes and it puts Eemaan first. So we learned something from here, right? And this is what shows you how the hadith, this is one of the signs that you know that the science of hadith is not fake, right? That when we have different narrations, they don't all come the same way. Why? Everyone doesn't memorize everything the same way, right? If we're talking right now, how many of you are going to remember exactly what we say, how we said it word for word? No. He's going to remember one part, he's going to remember another part, he's going to remember, right? But when you come together, the narrate, that's why the ulama, when you become strong in hadith, you bring all the various narrations together so you see the whole story better, right? Now you get to see the story better. And then you start to look at who had a stronger memory. These one had a stronger, so I'm going to prefer his narration over this one. But I'll use this to show the story a little bit more, right? And you go like that. But now, You see here that the hadith of Abu Hurairah starts with what? Mal Eemaan. What is Eemaan? But the hadith of Umar, it starts with what? فَأَخْبِرْنِي عَنِ الْإِسْلَامِ. You understand? So there's differences between the two in how the narration comes, but it's the same event. And that's human nature. Nobody remembers everything the same exact way, unless they sit down and memorize it word for word. But this is an event that happened. So they're not memorizing word for word, they're retelling what they saw. Right? So keep going. Let's use this narration. Keep going. Actually, we're going to stop using that narration. We're going to come back here now. We're going to come back here. So, up to there, right, I wanted to add those points there, right? Now, before we continue, somebody tell me, somebody explain, right, up to what I've explained so far. Somebody explain up to what I've explained so far. If you don't pick somebody, if somebody doesn't volunteer, I'll pick somebody. To explain up to what we've explained so far.
Abdul Muttalib. Who's Abdul Muttalib?
Abdul Muttalib?
Who's that? One of the sisters is looking for Abdul Muttalib.
There's no Abdul Muttalib here. Maybe us? No, there's no Abdul Muttalib here.
Can you check?
Come on, somebody explain or I'm going to pick. Tayyib, Hamdi, explain. The Hadith of Jibreel. You just came? Good. Who's this tapping? You just came too? Habiba, explain. I can't hear you. Huh? I can't hear you. Is she saying something? Nobody? Okay, no problem. Abdurrahman, explain. Hadith of Jibreel, up to where we just stopped at. Huh? What did you say? It's Somali, English, I don't care what language you use. Arabic, Farsi? Okay, well he'll say, tell him, okay, I'll tell you the words and you tell me what it means. And some benefits from it, right? So Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, let's use the hadith of Umar. One day we were sitting with the Prophet sallallahu بينما نحن جلوس عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم اطلع علينا رجل شديد بياض الثياب شديد سواد الشعر. Right? That one day we were sitting with the Prophet sallallahu and pay attention or you won't be able to explain it. One day we were sitting with the Prophet sallallahu and a man appeared to us, right? He had on extremely white clothing. He had extremely black hair. There were no signs of travel upon him, and none of us knew him. Until he came and he sat with his knee to the knee of the Prophet ﷺ, and he put his hands on the thighs of the Prophet ﷺ. Explain this to us, please. No, I just told you what it was. What do you have to get the kitab for? Uh-huh. You want me to say it in Arabic like this? Okay. عن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه, right? بينما نحن جلوس عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
مرأة لفت بالناس الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Is that right? Okay. What is, he just translated it? I don't want to translate. I want an explanation. Explain. What did he say? That's translation. Bring a benefit from that. I brought benefit from. I didn't just translate it, right? When I said, "Hey, pay attention, you girls, because I'm going to test you." You're going to be tested. This hadith is not a joke. بينما نحن جلوس عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم. We were sitting with the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم that day. Benefit. The Prophet ﷺ would sit amongst his companions. He didn't hide from them. He wasn't in a palace somewhere. He was amongst his people, right? How the scholars should be, how the imam should be, how the sheikh should be. He shouldn't hide. He should be what? Accessible. As it comes in the narration here in Sahih Muslim as well. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بارزا يوما للناس. He was amongst the people. Bariza means apparent, seen amongst the people, right? He wasn't hidden. He wasn't a prophet that was hiding somewhere. No, he was accessible to the people so they can reach him at any time, right? إِذْ طَلَعَ عَلَيْنَا رَجُلٌ شَدِيدُ بَيَادِ الثِّيَابِ. When a man came to us with extremely white clothing on, benefit, fa'ida, take note. A man came with white clothing. When we come to the halaqat of ilm, we should be dressed nice, smelling good, took a shower, not funky, right? Because it's important. We're coming to hear the dhikr of Allah. We're coming to where the angels gather at. We don't come with dirty clothes on. Our khimar, we just cook sambusa, has oil all over it, right? Smelling like fried onions. No. You come clean. You come prepared for what you're coming from. Oh, let me just stop off at the masjid real quick. You come prepared because that's the most important part of our day, to sit with the angels, right? To be where the angels gather at in the dunya. He came with extremely white clothing on. And he appeared. They didn't even see him coming up. He just appeared. Right? Shadid al-Sawad al-Sha'r. His hair was really black. Nice, mashallah. Oiled. He took care of it, right? Another thing we learned from here, that's the sunnah to grow your hair. From the sunnah to grow your hair. He had hair that can be seen. If he had a low brush cut or a bald, then what? You really wouldn't tell that. It wouldn't be important to say he had black hair, right? Nobody really got a little buzz cut. No. Obviously, he had hair, right? That makes sense? شديد سواد الشعر لا يرى عليه أثر السفر. There were no signs of travel upon him. He had extremely white hair. His hair wasn't dusty. It looked like he did his hair, had oil in it. There was no signs of travel upon him. Meaning that, wait, where did he come from? وَلَا يَعْرِفُهُ مِنَّا أَحَدٌ. And none of us knew him. How do we know nothing knew him? And other narrations said they asked each other. Do you know him? I don't know him. Where did he come from? I don't know. I didn't see. They asked each other. They're human beings. We have to stop thinking about the companions as being some robot. No. They were humans. They saw somebody they don't know. Yo, who's that? Don't you do that? You seen him before? Where did he come from? He's new here? What's his name? Who's his people? Oh, you don't know? That's what humans do, right? So the Sahaba did the same thing. Then he came up, he's fasting. So he came into the Prophet and put his what? Knees to the knees of the Prophet. What does that show? Why do you come that close to the person you want to take ilm from? Huh?
To be more focused.
To be more focused. Is it from the adab of ilm to when you come into the class that you go sit in the back of the class? Wallahi, no, it's not. The true talib of ilm, when he comes to the halaqat of ilm, he tries to sit as close as possible as he can. So adab. It's from bad adab for the talib of ilm to seek a seat in the back of the class. You should come and be as close as possible. Similarly on Jumu'ah. You come and you sit as close as possible to the imam so that you don't get any disturbance. Why? Because if you sit in the back, maybe some people will talk. Right? Maybe you sit in the back, you can't hear them. Some ulama, they don't yell. I yell, alhamdulillah, I have a loud voice. But some people, when they teach, they're quiet, alhamdulillah. And you might not be able to hear them. So you should be trying to sit as close as possible so you don't miss anything. Right? And you're focused, your eyes are there. He put his knee, he didn't sit on the side, he didn't sit on the wall. He came and he sat with his knee. So I'm focused right here, direct. Focused right directly facing him. Right? It's from the adab, even in Jumu'ah, that you face the khatib. A lot of people, they come to Jumu'ah, there's a hadith in the Eemaan and the Saheeh, and Surah Ibn Tirmidhi, where the Sahaba, they said they will face the Prophet ﷺ on the khutbah. Nowadays, people come and they face the Qibla. The Imam is over here, and they're over here. Like this. The Imam is there, and his body is there. No, that's not the Sunnah. The Sunnah is, if the Imam is here, then I turn and I face him. That's the Sunnah of the khutbah.
That's adab of majlis.
in the adab of the majlis. But even specifically in the khutbah, I don't know where people get it from. When they come into Jumu'ah, they come and they sit and face the Qibla. No, you face the Imam. What's the question? Right? So what's another benefit of him coming in and sitting that close? Because he wasn't talking to anyone else. He came to talk to the Prophet ﷺ. He didn't come to talk to Abu Bakr or Umar, right? He came to get the class. His intent was to do what he came to do and teach the people Islam. So he came and he sat and finished his objective, which was to get that. Still, some of you are facing the other direction. You're not even paying attention to what's being said. We're teaching you a lesson here, and people are still refusing to accept it. What's the benefit of learning if we don't apply it immediately? Jibreel, alayhi salatu wasalam, who came to teach us our deen, everything that comes in this narration, even the adab, is from our deen. Do you understand that? How important, even how he sat is from our deen. His clothing was from our deen. His hair was from our deen. All of that. The scholars say the most important thing you learn from the scholar is not what they're saying, it's what they're doing, their actions, the adab that's taught in the class. You learn that more than you learn anything else. Still, some of you have not moved close, right? You haven't moved closer because we're not paying attention. It's just information to us. To us, it's just information. I'm just hearing. It's something to hear. No, this is our deen. And Allah said in the Quran what? وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَا يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. If you want to do something besides what we're telling you is your deen, it will never be accepted from you. وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And in the akhirah, there'll be a loser. If you want to be a loser, then apply your deen. This adab that Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam came to talk is our deen. Do we understand that? That's important. The most important thing that we learn as tulab al-ilm is adab. If you don't know how to behave in a class, there's no benefit of seeking knowledge. What are you going to do? If you can't behave properly in a class, how are you going to apply it anywhere else? The most important, the first place that you got to apply it is in the class. If you can't do it there, how will you do it anywhere else? It doesn't work that way. So anyway, he came. He put his hands on his head. What benefit do we learn from that? He had to have a relationship with him already. You can't just do that, be a stranger, because, oh, what are you doing, man, touching me like that? But he had to have a relationship with him already. Has to be some type of familiarity that you come and put your hands on somebody's thighs. Right? And the Prophet let him. Okay, cool, homie. How you doing anyway? I haven't seen you in a while, right? So, then he says, Ya Muhammad. He knew this was Muhammad, so I said, how did he know? Unless he has some relation, he knew already. So the Sahaba are paying attention to all these little things. Man, he said, Ya Muhammad, how do you know that's the Prophet already? How he just come to the Prophet and put his hands on his thigh? He said, Ya Muhammad, akhbirni ala al-Islam. Tell me about Islam. Right? So in this narration that we have here, he says, Fatahu Jibreel, again, he didn't know it was Jibreel until after. So even though it says Fatahu Jibreel here, it didn't mean that he knew it was Jibreel automatically. He learned it was Jibreel after. Right? But he's telling you the story after he already knows. Correct? Fatahu Jibreel, faqal mal Eemaan. What is Eemaan? What is Eemaan? What is Eemaan? I'm asking you all. What is Eemaan? What is Eemaan? This is Eemaan. But what is the definition? Excuse me, I said the wrong question. What is the definition of Eemaan in Islam? Eemaan. What is the definition of Eemaan? Belief in the heart. Speech of the tongue. Actions of the limbs. It goes up with Eemaan, with obedience to Allah. It goes down with obedience to Shaitan. That's the definition Islamically of Eemaan. Do we understand? But what is Eemaan? Meaning, what are the things that make up Eemaan? And as he mentioned, the Prophet ﷺ, he responded back to him in his narration. He says, Al-Imanu and tu'mina billah. Iman is that you believe in Allah. Let's stop there. Iman is that you believe in Allah. We went over this before. That has 4 things that have to happen. What are they? What do you have to believe about Allah? What? What did you say? Huh? Speak up, speak up. What are the 4 things that you have, the components that are made up of belief in Allah? What are the 4 things you have to believe?
That He's our creator.
Well, His rububiyyah. We have to believe in rububiyyah, right? That Allah is the Lord, the creator, the provider, right? His rububiyyah. What else? Asma wa sifat. What is Asma wa sifat? His names and attributes, right? We have to believe in them. What do we believe about them? Oh. What? What do we believe about them, though? Can I name Allah anything I want to?
No, it has to be a characteristic that He gave Himself. We can't ask how.
We name Allah by what He named Himself by. And we describe Allah by what He described Himself with. Or His Messenger named Him as that. Or His Messenger described Him as that. That is tawqifiyya. We do not name Allah or call Allah anything besides what He named Himself. Do we say God for Allah? No. It's not a name of Allah. Can we utilize it in da'wah? Yes. But as a Muslim that's talking to other Muslims, we shouldn't say God. Allah didn't call Himself God. Allah calls Allah. Right? Can we call Allah the higher power? Did Allah name Himself that? No. The big man upstairs? The Father? No. These are not names that Allah named. We should not use them. We don't use them. So we say what? His asma wa sifat. What else? His uluhiyyah, that no one deserves to be worshipped except for Allah. What else? We're missing one. Al-wujud, we have to believe that wujuduhu, that He exists. We have to believe in His existence. That comes number 1. You got to believe in the existence of Allah. Especially today when we have the atheists saying there's no God. There's nothing that's... No, we believe in Allah's existence. Then we believe in His rububiyyah. Then we believe in His uluhiyyah. Then we believe in His asma wa sifat. His existence. Wujuduhu. His existence. Right? He said, tu'mina billah. It was made up of 4 components, right? What are they? His existence, His rububiyyah, His uluhiyyah, His asma wa sifat. We understand? Tu'mina billahi wa malaikatihi. We believe in His angels. What do we know about the angels? Some of them we know by name, some of them we don't. The ones we know by name, we say them. Jibreel, Mikael, Israfil, right? We know them by name, so we call them by name. Malak al-Maut, right? Now, some we don't know by name. We know they have characteristics. What were the angels created from? From light. We believe that the angels were created from light, right? Now we have a question. Can you see an angel now?
No.
Why not? The companion saw Jibreel.
That's different changes. Change the, what do you call? They have ability to change. We don't. And we can't see that.
That's the answer. We can only see the angels in different forms in this life. If you see the angel in their actual form in this life, it means punishment is coming. The angels only show their real forms in this dunya when they're coming to bring adhab. You understand that? Other than that, we don't see them in their real form. We see them in forms other than their haqiqah, other than their real form. You understand that? Not in their real angelic form. The Prophet ﷺ saw it, and what did he do? When he saw Jibreel on the horizon, he ran. It was too much. He ran. He saw Jibreel on the horizon, he ran. Right? He said it blocked the whole horizon when he saw Jibreel ﷺ's real form. Show you the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how He creates these angels. Some of the angels that hold the throne of Allah. Right? How long of a distance it is to get from one shoulder to the other. Subhanallah. The greatness of Allah. When we think about the angels, it should cause our iman to increase. That the angels right now there's so many angels in our little gathering, us little people. Who are we? Except people who are remembering Allah right now. That the angels do what? حَفَّتْهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. The angels, they come and surround our gathering. All the way up to the heavens. They pile on top of each other, pile up into the heavens till they reach Allah. And they say, guess what? Abdurrahman, oh Allah, right now is in a halaqah remembering you. Allah, وَذَكَرَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَنْ عِنْدَهُ. That Allah says your name. Because the angels tell him, of course Allah knows, but the angels tell him, oh Allah, Abdurrahman right now is in a gathering remembering you. Right? That Abdul Fattah right now is remembering you, oh Allah. Right now, oh Allah, Asma is remembering you. Who can be better? What's better than that? To have Allah saying your name amongst the angels. Because you're in a gathering remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the mercy of Allah. We're nobody. Except people right now that are in a gathering remembering Allah. What can we ask for more than that? Some people will be so excited if Donald Trump or Obama said their name. Allah says our name every time we come to a gathering like this. Should we want to miss these opportunities? How can you want to miss this? When Allah focus samawati wal ard says your name, subhanAllah. What could be better than that? So then continuing, we believe in the angels. We believe what? That they're right here, right now. They're surrounding our gathering, bringing sakina to our gathering. Right? Then we say what? We believe in his books. What took me to be? Well, kutubihi, believe in his books. What do we believe about the books? That all of them are revealed from Allah. All of them are heavenly books that came down from Allah. They were the literal speech of Allah. Some of them Allah allowed to have to know. All of them were his speech of Allah. Some he allowed to be changed. The last and final one that Allah refused to let be changed is the Quran. He protected it from being altered and changed. But all of them are the speech of Allah. وَكُتُبِهِ وَلِقَائِهِ. In this narration it goes to وَلِقَائِهِ. وَلِقَائِهِ means what? Yawm al-Akhirah. The last day. We believe in the last day. And the last day starts when? As soon as you die. But there's different parts of it. The last day that starts after you die is the question between you and the angels, right? There's the barzakh, the time in the grave. Then after that there's what? Al-Ba'ath, the resurrection. And then after that there's Qiyamah. What? What? What did I skip? No. This narration doesn't go that way. I'm reading it from the Saheeh Imam Bukhaaree right now. So in this narration it goes, Al-Eemaan an tu'mina billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa biliqa'ihi. Then it goes, wa rusulihi wa tu'mina bil ba'th. Yeah, it mentions it differently. And that's just for the narrator. The narrator just mentioned it differently, right? Wa tu'mina bil ba'th. So it says, وَبِلِقَائِهِ, by meeting Allah means on Yawm al-Qiyamah. وَبِرَسُولِهِ is messengers. What do we know about the messengers? The messengers were sent, and they were sent to bring guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And we could go into that. Then we know about tu'mina bil ba'th, that you believe in the time that you'll be resurrected. You believe in the fact that you'll be resurrected. Correct? So then, let's look at it again. Let's look at it from the other angle, from the hadith that's in the Saheeh Imam Muslim on authority Abu Umar ibn Khattab. So look, he says about Eemaan. He says, "In tu'mina billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi wa al-yawm al-akhir wa tu'mina bil qadri khayrihi wa sharrihi." Right? He says, you believe in Allah, you believe in His angels, you believe in His books, you believe in His messengers, you believe in the last day, and you believe in the qadr, the good of it and the bad of it, the good of it in the bad of it, right? Now let's go back to the narration we have here. He says, قَالَ مَا الْإِسْلَامُ. He says, Al-Islam an ta'bud Allah wa la tushrika bihi shay'an. That Islam is what? that you worship Allah and you don't worship anything along with you. Not yourself, not money, not your family, not your lineage, not an idol, not a person, not a love, nothing. You don't worship anything alongside with Allah. Shay'an. Right? وَتُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةِ, and you offer, establish the salah. Establishing the salah does not mean just pray. He didn't say what to salli. He said you establish the salah. What does that mean? It means that you do it the way it's supposed to be done. With its pillars, with its conditions, with its requirements, with wudu, all the stuff that you're supposed to know how to do for the salah, you have to establish it in that manner. Do you understand? It has to be established in that manner. He says, وَتُؤَدِّي الزَّكَاةِ وَتُؤَدِّي الزَّكَاةِ, and that you establish the al-mafruḍah, and that you pay the obligatory zakat, right? Talking about it, right? The obligatory zakat, 2.5% of whatever your wealth is that goes over the nisab. And nisab, if we use the silver, is not that much, $200-300 that you have for a whole year, right? Then he said, وَتَصُومُ Ramadan, that you fast the month of Ramadan, right? And if we look at it from the narration of Umar ibn al-Khattab, it says what? Islam, and تشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله وتقيم الصلاة وتؤتي الزكاة وتصوم رمضان وتحج البيت إن استطعت إليه سبيلا. صح? And then it says what? فعجبنا له. So in the narration of Imam Muslim, or Imam Muslim in the Saheeh Imam Muslim that's found in Arabic and Nawawi, he says what? Jibril, after asking the question, he says, Sadaqta. He told the Prophet, you spoke the truth. So the companions said, فعجبنا له يسأله ويصدقه. So the companions said, whoa, this guy asked the question, but he's telling the Prophet, you said the right thing? Something strange about this guy here, right? Something's weird going on here. That you asked the question, and you said, yep, you're right. If you knew I was right, why ask me? That's called asking a rhetorical question. There's no benefit in the question. Ask me a question you already know the answer to. Is it hot outside and you just came from outside? Why you ask me then? So he said, man, he asked the question, and he already knew the answer. Something is different here. So he said in that other narration, what? What is Islam? He said to pray he said, what is Islam? He said, and touch on that to bear witness that there's nothing that deserves to be worshipped except for Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Now we have a question. What are the conditions of the Shahada? What are the conditions of the Shahada? We all say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, but is it true? What are the conditions that make our Shahada correct? What are they? Al-ilm wal-yaqeen, what are they? What are they? Go ahead, Buddha. Knowledge, wait, don't rush it, because it's important. What does knowledge mean? Tell me about knowledge. Huh? Knowledge of what? Knowledge of knowledge of what? Knowledge that negates what? Ignorance. Ignorance of Allah. Ignorance of all the rights of Allah. Knowledge, right? Keep going. Knowledge, what else? Allah said what? فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنبِهِ. Right? So know that there's no one that deserves to be worshipped except for Allah. You can't say Shahada to anything in life if you don't know it. You say, oh, Abdurrahman punched Abdurrahman. He said, how do you know? I said, I don't know. So why are you talking? You don't know. You have to have knowledge of it, right? So knowledge, what else? Huh? Yaqeen, certainty. You cannot say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah if you're not certain. Doesn't benefit you. If you don't really believe that there's nothing that deserves to be worshipped except for Allah, then who cares? You're just talking. What else? Yaqeen? What else? What is it? How do you say it in Arabic? Qabul, accepting whatever comes with it. Whatever comes with it. Accepting whatever comes with this Shahada. in obedience to Allah. I'm going to obey Allah. Why? I said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I got to accept whatever comes with it. What else? Keep going. That's 3. Huh? Well, inqiyad. Whoa, big one. I'm going to let my life be steered by my shahada. My shahada is my oath, it's my roadmap, and wherever my shahada takes me, I'm going. My shahada is I can't hang pictures of people on the wall and say, oh, I love you, and he's a kafir, or even if he's not a kafir. My shahada won't let me do that. Right? My shahada won't let me commit shirk. I can't go to commit shirk. I said shahada. That's 4. What else do we have? 3 more. Sidq. Being truthful. I'm saying this because I really mean it. I'm true to it. I believe this. Right? What else? That's 5. Ikhlas wa mahabba wa faqad Allahu lima ahabba, right? We said ikhlas, you said mahabba, that you gotta love it. You gotta love it. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ كَرِهُ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأَحْبَطَ أَعْمَالَهُم. Because they hated what Allah sent down and caused their actions to be wiped out. You can't say you're a Muslim, you hate the Shahada, you love shirk. You gotta love for the sake of Allah and hate for the sake of Allah. You gotta hate shirk. You gotta hate stuff being worshipped besides Allah. But just because you hate it doesn't mean you have to do anything always either. Just because you hate shirk doesn't mean you gotta go out and start fighting people. But you gotta hate it. You can't like seeing shirk. You can't be around and say, oh my goodness, that's such beautiful shirk they're doing. No. What's the last one? Ikhlas. Sincerity. Gotta be sincere to it, right? Why did you all need notes to find that out? It's your shahada. None of you know any poetry for that? You memorized it in 1st grade fiqh. You forgot it though. Yeah. It's in the beginning of it. Okay? There are conditions tied to it to which we must adhere. There's knowledge and acceptance. There's knowledge, then what does it go? There's knowledge, then yaqeen, then acceptance, my sweet dear. Right? The inqiyadu, inqiyadu sidq wal mahabba. Yeah, like this. However it goes. So, you memorize it, you just forgot. Because you're not reviewing. The point of memorizing these poems is so that you remember these things. Right? As it comes in another poem, it says, I'm forgetting right now. But anyway, right? So, the point is that we're supposed to know that. What about Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah? What are the conditions for believing in Muhammad as the messenger of Allah? Do you believe Muhammad is the messenger of Allah? What are the conditions for it? How do you know that you really believe it? طاعته فيما أمره. You got to obey him in whatever he says. تصديقه فيما أخبره. Whatever he informs us of, we believe it. اجتناب نهى عنه وزجره. Whatever he tells us not to do, we stay away from it. Right? ألا يعبد الله إلا بما شرع. And that we don't worship Allah except by that which he has legislated. Right? We have to believe this. What is it again? Number 1, obeying him in whatever he commands us to do. Believing him in whatever he told us about. Staying away from whatever he warned us from and told us not to do. And lastly, that we only worship Allah and that which he has legislated for us. You understand? Now we don't make up stuff. We don't worship Allah except by what he legislated for us. Tell you. And he said what? To establish the salat, to tuqim as-salat, to pay the zakat, to tu'ti az-zakat, wa tasum Ramadan, wa tahujj al-bayt in istata'ta ilayhi sabila. You know, yesterday I'm going to tell you all a benefit, right? Who here wants to be Hanifan? You know Hanif like Ibrahim, right? Everybody wants to be Hanif, right? Nobody wants to be Hanif? Did Allah not command you to be Hanif? Did Allah say, وَاتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا? وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Allah said, follow the way of Ibrahim. Hanifan, be Hanif, and he was not from the mushrikeen. Did Allah not say, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ حُنَفَاءَ وَيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, right? So we're ordered by Allah to be Hanif. Do you know that? So again, I'm going to ask you all this question again. Who here wants to be Hanif? Still nobody wants to be Hanif? Allah told you to be Hanif and you don't want to be Hanif? Girls, you can be Hanif too. It's not just for men. Who wants to be Hanif? Astaghfirullah. You don't want to be Hanif? If you don't want to be Hanif, you can't be Muslim without being Hanif. Allah commands you, وَاتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. Follow the way of Ibrahim, Hanifan, and be a Hanif. Right? So Allah told you that you have to be Hanif. What does it mean to be Hanif? It means to go away from every other type of belief that is false and only focus on the true belief of Allah. So again, who wants to be Hanif? SubhanAllah. I read this and I was reading that some of the Salaf, they say you can never be Hanif unless you've been circumcised and you make Hajj. They said until you make Hajj, you're not considered Hanif. Why? Because Ibrahim was the father, the one that caused to make Hajj. So a person has money and they're sitting back and they don't make Hajj, they're not Hanif, regardless how much they think they are. Because you're not really focused on Allah. You're using your money to buy new cars and do this and do that, but you're not using your money to do what Allah told you to do. Correct? Hanifan. It's important. We think sometimes that these things are little things. Where we at? Where we at? We did Eemaan and we did Islam, right?
Khadar. يوم قدري وشره وخيري ونعم الرسول ورسوله يوم
We were at Man Islam. What is Islam?
We did Eemaan already.
So this is the second part of.
Because remember, the hadith comes differently. If you guys looking at the hadith in front of you,
I think we're
huh?
on Rasul, right?
Yeah.
This hadith comes in a different order. Remember I told you that? It comes in a different order. طيب. So he says, قال ما الإسلام؟ قال الإسلام أن تعبد الله ولا تشرك به شيئا وتقيم الصلاة وتؤدي الزكاة والمفروضة وتصوم رمضان. قال ما الإحسان؟ So now he says, what is ihsan? He says, what is ihsan? Now I'm going to tell you something a little bit differently. Quiet. What does it mean to be ihsan? Muhsin.
Ihsan means give the right of people.
No. That's part of ihsan, to be good to people, yes.
If you give something to someone and you don't want to show it.
Well, that's ihsan. That's a part of it. That's a part of it.
Do the right thing when
Doing the right thing when nobody's seeing. That's a part of ihsan. Ihsan, as the Prophet ﷺ described it, is أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. To worship Allah as if you see Him. Pay attention to that, right? If your manager is in front of you, you're going to work the best way that you can work, right? I might get a raise, I might get a bonus, let me do a good job, right? But then when he's not around, maybe you're like, whew, I worked hard. But we worship Allah always as if Allah sees it, as if we can see Allah. And if you can't reach that level, that's a hard level, right? To worship Allah as if you see Him. If you can't reach that level, then at least you remember and be cognizant and pay attention to the fact that Allah sees you. That Allah is watching you. The Prophet ﷺ says in another hadith, كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانِ كَتَبَ اللَّهُ الْإِحْسَانِ لَا كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Allah has obligated us to do our best in everything we do. So what does that mean? There's a mafhum mukhalifa here. There's an opposite understanding. If we're commanded to do our best in everything, then that means that doing our not best is haram. Right? If you just do, I'm going to be okay, I'm going to do it a little bit. We're prohibited, right, Hamdi? We're prohibited from doing just a little bit, just enough. You understand that? We're prohibited from just skating by, whoo, I made it. Allah told us to do our best. Allah told us at all times to do our best. Are you doing your best right now? You doing your best? Like that? That's your best. Talking during class. Alhamdulillah. So, Allah commanded us to do our best. That's ihsan. That you worship Allah as if you see Him, and if you can't see Him, then what? You are paying attention. You know that He sees you. You understand that? Then He says, Mata sa'a. When is the hour? You know, subhanAllah, I just had a flashback, wallahi, just now, right? I remember when I was a young boy, that my father made us memorize this hadith when we were young, right? And I remember, right, I don't know subhanAllah where it came from just now, when I was reading the hadith and it started to explain it, I remember some of the things that he explained to me when I was younger just now. And it reminded me, subhanAllah, of how important it is for us parents to be in the lives of the children and do these type of things. Do mudhakara with your children. My father would quiz us over these things, right? What does it mean like this? But you have to do that. Even if you don't have children yet, do with your little sisters. Do with your little brothers, right? Sit them down sometime because they'll remember those things, right? I'm remembering things right now from this hadith that I was 12 or 11 years old from, right? Explanation of it. And it doesn't leave you. It'll come back to you, those memories, and those will be fond, happy memories that a person will have, and they say, Subhanahu Rahimahullah. May Allah enter them in the Jannah and give them the best of the rewards that Allah has, and give them Jannah to their dose. So, I remember this, subhanAllah. So anyway, right? Be those type of people, right? Do this type of mudhakara with your family so that you can have good memories about them. And then subhanAllah now, inshallah, my father gets the reward of this. However many years later, I'm giving an explanation from some things that he mentioned to me when I was young, right? So be like that, inshallah. So he says what? Meta sa'a. When is the hour? When is the hour? He said, "ما المسؤول عنها بأعلم من السائل وسأخبرك عن أشراطها." He said, when he asked him when the hour is, he said the one who's asking the question, meaning the one who's being asked the question, does not know anything more about it than the one who, stop talking, than the one who's asking. We learn from here, right? The angels don't know the unseen. We learn from here that even the angels don't know the unseen. Only Allah knows. So the one asking the question doesn't know any more about it than the one being questioned about it. I don't know. And you don't know either. Right? Neither one of us know the answer to that question. But سأخبرك عن أشراطها. But I'll inform you of some of its signs. أشراطها means علامتها. The signs of the hour. And now he starts to mention some of the signs of the hour. He said, إِذَا وَلَدَتِ الْأَمَةُ رَبَّهَا. When a mother, a slave woman, a slave, gives birth, Amma is a slave, right? When the slave gives birth to her master. When the slave gives birth to her master. Some of the scholars in the past, they were confused a little bit about this. They didn't know really what this meant. They would say maybe the slave woman, she has a child, and then the child, she becomes free. But they say no, but the woman who gives birth to the child of the master becomes free. So they said can't be that, but they're like, well maybe for the first time that she gives birth. So there's confusion. There's a lot of different things. But then finally, some of the scholars decided to say no. It means that the mother, the child, will become so disrespectful to the parent that it's like the child is the master and the mother is the slave. Do we not see that today? Children tell their parents, give me money. Buy me this. Right? Cook for me. You talk to your parents like that. Couldn't have been my mother, of course. I'm telling you, it wasn't even like, alhamdulillah, it wasn't because of the hadith that I was like that. It was because my mother had a good backhand. Right? You're not going to talk to my mother like that where you think that you could just whatever. No. You're going to be smacked back to 10 years ago. But nowadays, subhanAllah, the parents are like, oh. Ask him if I can watch the recording. Ask him if it's going to be recorded. Tell him we're in class now. Ask him if there's a recording for him. So, subhanAllah, but nowadays the parents, they're more afraid of the children. They're scared of the children. Oh, my son or my daughter, they're going to call the police. SubhanAllah. You know, SubhanAllah, how can the parents be afraid of the children? But that's from this society doing that. This society has plotted. And from the evilness of the society is that when the society makes the parent afraid of the child, it gives the child more rights than the parent has. Why? Because now the society says, we own your child. The child says, oh, well, I don't got to listen to you. My teacher said if you yell at me, I can call the police. Call the police? They're going to live with your teacher. See if they'll feed you. See if they'll put up with your not, right? But the society wants to do that because if you destroy the family, then you destroy society. It's one of the greatest tricks of shaitan. This is the recording. What do you think? What did you ask? Okay. Anyway, right? So the question goes back, right? The question goes back, right, to how the child responds back to the parent, right? How disrespectful children today have become. They talk back. Well, Lord, when I was young, children were not even allowed to talk around adults. I don't know, it's very strange to me. I feel like I'm in a whole other world where I see children having whole conversations amongst adults. I say, SubhanAllah, when did you become an adult? You say, oh, well, you know. When I was young, the rule was this. Children are meant to be seen and not heard. It's a rule. Qaida. Muhimma. If you broke that rule, all the adults were going to beat you. It didn't even have to be your parents. They look at your parent, and you come in the room while adults are talking, and everyone looks at you. What's wrong with him? You say, oh, I must have walked into the wrong. Let me get out of here real quick. Nowadays, the parents going to bring it.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
So the big problem is that today the parents have become slaves of their children, right? The children say, I want, the parents jump. Give me Jordans, okay. Give me phone, okay. Give me, SubhanAllah, how do we, like reality check your children, right? There's no way you can tell your parents to give me. You take and receive what's given to you. That's it. I want was unknown in my house. I didn't even understand what that meant. Get me this. They say, oh, can I have these? But I want, you don't want nothing but a smack maybe, right? But again, it goes back to how the society, this is not done on accident. This is on purpose. Because if the children lose respect for the parents, right? And they feel they can do or say whatever they want to the parents, then who's going to keep them in check when they want to become crazy? Who's going to keep them in check? What's the problem? Have a question? You giving your own separate lesson? Because I would like to benefit. I'm always looking for a new lesson to listen to. If you have some explanation you want to benefit us all with, I'll listen. It's not. What's not? You're not going to get smacked? Oh, alhamdulillah. But I still see it. I see people drive their parents crazy, make their parents buy this, this, and this, and this, and they're working crazy to buy Jordans for some of you guys. Right? Phones, you guys got more. I'm trying to figure out, how do you guys got new iPhones before I do? And I work day and night. I said, man, subhanAllah, these guys got newer iPhones than me, and I work every day. So you didn't buy it yourself? You said, what? I need an iPhone, right? You know what I was told? Go get a job. Right? I have a job. SubhanAllah. You guys have too much, what they call this, I can't remember the word for it right now. Spoiled, but it's another word for it. Anyway, forget it. Right? So that's the first part. That the child, even to the extent today that you see children hitting their parents. A child hit their parents, subhanAllah. You know, before in the time of the Christian book, not even the Muslim book, you know the punishment for a child hitting their parents, what it was? Death. A child hit their parents. In the books of the Christians, it's found that the child should be hung and killed and thrown in the front of the city. It can't be like this. And that's in the books of the Christians, not ours. Then it mentions وَإِذَا تَطَاوَلَ رُعَاةُ الْإِبْلِ الْبُهْمُ فِي الْبُنْيَانِ, that the shepherds of camels, right, the camel herders will what? Compete in building tall buildings, right? We see that happen today. See that happen. Some of the Arab countries, people were camel herders. Now they have the Burj Khalifa, the largest buildings in the world and stuff like this. But sky rises and stuff, and they're competing, literally competing, and building. Who can build the tallest building next? Happens when you get excess money. It becomes wasteful with the money. Now, in itself, is it haram to build tall buildings? Does this hadith show that it's haram to build tall buildings? No. Not all signs of the hour mean that thing is a sin. Not all signs of the hour indicate a sin. It just shows something that's going to happen before time ends up, right? Do you know that there's hadith that say that before the hour comes, that people's shoes will talk to them? Don't we see that happen today? You ever see that happen? They have shoes that talk, put a phone in their shoe, right? Talking shoes. It's reality. So, does that mean it's haram to have a talking shoe? No, I wouldn't want one, but maybe somebody wants a shoe that talks to them. I don't know. So, building a long building, a tall building, doesn't mean it's haram. It just means that's something that will happen. But if there's waste involved in it for no reason, competing just to compete, then of course it's wrong. It's a waste of money. There's people starving in the ummah today. There's Muslims starving. And we just want to build big buildings just to say that I have a big building. There's no benefit in it, perhaps. And also, فِي خَمْسٍ لَا يَعْلَمُهُنَّ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. And there's 5 things that only Allah knows. This is part of the Qadr. This indicates the Qadr of Allah, right? What Allah knows. 5 things that only Allah knows. No one else is made aware of this. ثم تلا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله عنده علم الساعة. And then he mentioned that indeed with Allah is the knowledge of the hour. In the Allah inda, that with Allah is the knowledge of the hour, right? So that's one. Amongst the things that Allah knows and nobody else knows, one is that knowledge of the hour.
No one know where you should be dying.
Where are you going to die? Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثَ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ. Nobody knows what's in the womb in actuality, right? Yes, they can tell now faster than normally, but no one knows in the beginning. And even, don't you know, even though those things that they, what do they call them, sonograms, sometimes they're not right. Sometimes it says girl and it's a boy. And it comes out, whoa, because only Allah really knows. You might not see what you think you see. Think it's a boy and it's a girl. So only Allah knows what's in the womb. Only Allah knows when the hour is going to come. Only Allah knows when a person is going to earn the next day, where your wealth is going to come from. Nobody knows where they're going to die. Only Allah knows truly when it's going to rain and how the fruit and the produce is going to come. Right? It's with Allah. It's with Allah only. ثُمَّ أَدْبَرَ. Then the person that left. ثُمَّ أَدْبَرَ. فَقَالَ رُدُّوهُ. So the Prophet ﷺ went to him and said, bring him back. Bring him back. فَلَمْ يَرَوْا شَيْئًا. But he didn't see, they didn't see anything. When they went to go find him, they didn't see anything. He disappeared. فَقَالَ هَذَا جِبْرِيلٌ جَاءَ يُعَلِّمُ النَّاسِ دِينَهُمْ. So this was Jibril. He said that was Jibril who came to teach the people their deen. Abu Abdullah, who is Imam al-Bukhaaree, he said, جَعَلَ ذَلِكَ كُلُّهُ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. He made all of that from Eemaan. All of that is from Eemaan. And we'll stop there. Again, I expect you all to review this hadith for next week. Review this hadith for next week. I'm going to question you about it next week. If I was you, I would start memorizing this hadith, even though I'm not going to obligate it upon you until I come back from Hajj, inshallah. But I still expect you all to start memorizing, start working on it. So you have, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to memorize this hadith, inshallah. I'm giving you that much time because I want it to be like Fatiha. I want you to be able to recite this hadith backwards and frontwards, with your eyes closed, with your eyes open, sitting on your head, sitting on your back, wherever. This hadith has to become like your name. You understand? So we're giving you 4 weeks, and we don't have other classes that week. We don't have Quran. You don't have nothing else to stop you or interrupt you except to memorize this hadith. You understand? Any questions? Huh? Said it's too much? Oh. What's your question? No. No. What? Huh? What? She's not going to say the question?
She's asking.
Oh, go ahead. What? How is the second hadith the hadith of Jibril? How is it the hadith of Jibril? Because it was Jibril. The second hadith you're talking about, Arba'in an-Nawawi. The hadith goes, بَيْنَمَا نَحْنُ جُلُوسٌ عِنْدَ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ طَلَعَ عَلَيْنَا. That hadith? Why is it called the hadith of Jibril? Because it was Jibril. At the end of the hadith it says, وَهَذَا جِبْرِيلُ يُعَلِّمُكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. The one that came was Jibril, yes. What'd you say? They saw him as a human being. Jibril used to come in the light of a human being. He used to look like a certain Sahaba sometimes when he would come. But he never came and showed his real form. He never showed his real form except to the Prophet ﷺ. But he used to come and show himself as a human being to the Sahaba. So when he came at this time, they didn't know he was Jibril until after the Prophet ﷺ told them. But it was Jibril. So that's why it's called the hadith of Jibril. And we learned something here too, that sometimes the teacher or sometimes the alim, the one who has knowledge, sometimes he'll ask a question, not because he wants to learn, but to teach other people. Maybe sometimes we're in class, right? And maybe we want everyone to learn something. And maybe we forget something, but somebody who knows that answer already says, oh, but Sheikh, what's the ruling of such and such and such and such? He already knows, but he wants the question to be answered so that everyone else gets the benefit of it. You understand? That's one of the styles or learning. That's one of the ways of teaching, is to teach by asking and answering questions so that everyone gets the benefit of those questions. Understood? We understand why it's Hadith Jibril now, right? Yes. Tell you. How did what? How did he know it was Jibril? He knows Jibril. He knew Jibril. He just didn't blow the spot up when he was there. Him and Jibril, look, he came and put his hands on his thigh. He's a prophet, so I said, he knows Jibril. Him and Jibril were close. Wasn't the first time Jibril came to him. He's been coming to him for the past, 20 years. Because if Abu Hurairah narrated this hadith, we know this hadith had to happen in the last 3 years of the Prophet's life. Right? Last 3 to 4 years of the Prophet's life. So that means that Jibril, that's his homie. They've been coming and talking to each other for the last 20 years. Right?
How do we know it's the last 3 years?
Because Abu Hurairah didn't come to the Prophet ﷺ, they didn't become Muslim until like the last 3 or 4 years of the Prophet's life. That's how a lot of times you can tell the time span of a hadith by who narrated it, when they became Muslim, and so on and so forth. Any other questions? Huh? Again, review it amongst each other, question each other about it, quiz each other about it, because this hadith is going to become our motto. And we're going to go deeper into it, and the more that you understand it, we'll put more on top of it. It's like baking a cake. Once you put the cake in the oven, first right now I want you to put the cake in the oven. And then once the cake comes out the oven, we're going to put some frosting on it, right? And then after we put frosting, we're going to put sprinkles. Then we might take the thing, what's those things called, and write, Warrior Scott, we're going to write something on the cake. Right? Then you got to cut the cake. Then you might put some ice cream on the cake too. So we're going to bake the cake, put some ice cream on it, and we're going to eat it real good. But it takes time. First, we got to bake it. Okay? May Allah bless you all. Barakallahu feekum.